Welcome to another episode of NFL Catch-Up, a recap of the opinions and analysis from national experts across the NFL podcasting landscape, delivering you a weekly catch-up of the most interesting takes from around the NFL. We drop NFL Catch-Up every Friday morning all year long across the major podcast platforms. You can find us on X at NFL_catchup. We're also available on YouTube and on the web at nflcatchup.com. The San Francisco 49ers made a statement on Thursday night, defeating the Seattle Seahawks 36-24 in a pivotal NFC West matchup. Brock Purdy continued his impressive run, throwing for 3 touchdowns and posting a passer rating of 129.3. But it wasn't just Purdy who shined for the Niners. George Kittle hauled in 2 touchdown passes, including a crucial third down grab late in the fourth quarter. And Deebo Samuel exploded for a 76-yard touchdown, catch and run, shaking off a late injury to battle for extra yards. What's particularly encouraging for San Francisco is the emergence of their ground game. With Christian McCaffrey sidelined, Jordan Mason stepped up to lead the NFL in rushing before exiting with a shoulder injury. This opened the door for rookie Isaac Guerendo, who broke free for a 76-yard run that set up a late Kyle Juszczyk touchdown. All told, the 49ers racked up 228 rushing yards, their highest total of the season. On the defensive side, Nick Bosa may not have recorded a sack, but he made his presence felt with 14 pressures, tying his own mark for the most in a game over the last 4 seasons. The Niners' defense stifled Seattle's ground attack, holding Kenneth Walker III to just 32 yards on 14 carries. It was a complete team effort that showcased why San Francisco remains one of the top contenders in the NFC. Shifting our focus to the AFC, the New England Patriots are making a major change at quarterback. Head coach Jerod Mayo has announced that rookie Drake May will get the start this Sunday against the Houston Texans. It's a bold move for a Patriots team sitting at 1-4, but one that could potentially spark their struggling offense. May, the 3rd overall pick in this year's draft, has been developing behind the scenes while waiting for his opportunity. He'll face a tough test in his debut, going up against a surprisingly stout Texans defense. Houston's head coach DeMeco Ryans made it clear they won't be changing their defensive approach for the rookie quarterback, saying, quote, "We'll play our defense. It won't change." Unquote. This matchup will be particularly intriguing given that C.J. Stroud, the number 2 overall pick, has been thriving as the Texans' starter. Stroud had high praise for May this week, complimenting his versatility and accuracy. It sets up a fascinating duel between 2 of the top quarterback prospects from the 2024 draft class. For May and the Patriots, this game represents a chance to breathe new life into a season that's quickly slipping away. New England has struggled mightily on offense, ranking near the bottom of the league in most categories. If May can provide a spark and lead the Patriots to an upset win over the surging Texans, it could completely change the narrative surrounding this team moving forward. Now let's turn our attention to a pivotal NFC East clash as the Philadelphia Eagles prepare to host the Cleveland Browns. The Eagles are coming off their bye week and should be getting some reinforcements, with wide receiver A.J. Brown expected to return from a hamstring injury that sidelined him since week 1. His presence could be a game changer for an Eagles offense that struggled to find consistency without him. In the opener against Green Bay with Brown in the lineup, Philadelphia put up 34 points. But in the 3 games he's missed, they've averaged just 17 points per game. That's a stark difference that illustrates just how important Brown is to the Eagles' offensive success. With right tackle Lane Johnson and receiver Devonta Smith also set to return from concussions, Philadelphia's offense could be primed for a breakout performance. They'll need it against a Browns defense that's been one of the NFL's best units so far this season. Cleveland ranks in the top 5 in most defensive categories and has been particularly stingy against the pass. This sets up a classic strength versus strength matchup, with the Eagles' potent passing attack going up against the Browns' lockdown secondary. For Philadelphia, this game feels like a potential turning point in their season. After a somewhat underwhelming 2-2 start, they have a chance to get back on track and reassert themselves as one of the NFC's top contenders. But they'll need quarterback Jalen Hurts to clean up his turnover issues. He leads the league with 27 giveaways since the start of last season. If Hurts can take care of the football and get Brown involved early, the Eagles should be in good position to secure a statement win at home. Switching gears to an intriguing interconference matchup, the Detroit Lions head to Dallas to take on the Cowboys in what could be one of the most entertaining games of the week. Both teams enter with winning records and playoff aspirations, setting the stage for a potential shootout at AT&T Stadium. For Detroit, this game represents a chance to prove they belong among the NFC's elite. The Lions are off to a strong 3-1 start behind an efficient offense led by quarterback Jared Goff. But it's their ground game that could be the X factor against Dallas. Running back David Montgomery has found the end zone and topped 15 fantasy points in every game so far this season. He'll be facing a Cowboys defense that's been vulnerable against the run, allowing the 7th most fantasy points to opposing backs. On the flip side, the Cowboys are looking to get back on track at home after dropping their first 2 games in Jerry World this season. It's unfamiliar territory for Dallas, who had won 16 straight at home entering the year. A 3rd consecutive home loss would mark their first such streak with Dak Prescott under center since 2006. That's not the kind of history the Cowboys want to make. This game has all the makings of a high-scoring affair. Both offenses have shown the ability to put up points in bunches, while the defenses have had their share of struggles. Keep an eye on the Lions' wide receiver corps, particularly Amon-Ra St. Brown. The shifty slot receiver has been Goff's favorite target and could feast against a Dallas secondary that's given up some big games to opposing wideouts. In the end, this matchup could come down to which quarterback makes fewer mistakes. Goff has been steady if unspectacular for Detroit, while Prescott is always capable of brilliance, but prone to the occasional head-scratching decision. Whichever signal caller can avoid the big turnover and make plays in critical moments will likely lead their team to victory in what should be one of Week 6's most anticipated clashes. Let's shift our focus to a game with major implications in the AFC, as the Baltimore Ravens prepare to host the Washington Commanders. This battle of the Beltway features 2 of the NFL's most exciting young quarterbacks, with Lamar Jackson squaring off against rookie sensation Jayden Daniels. For Baltimore, their struggles on defense have been a major storyline so far this season. The Ravens are allowing over 25 points per game, which ranks 7th worst in the league. That's a far cry from the dominant Baltimore defenses we've grown accustomed to seeing. They'll have their hands full with Daniels and a Washington offense that leads the NFL in scoring at 31 points per game. But there's reason for optimism if you're a Ravens fan. Historically, Baltimore has dominated rookie quarterbacks under head coach John Harbaugh. Since 2008, the Ravens are an impressive 23-7 against first-year signal callers. Their ability to disguise coverages and present complex looks often leaves young quarterbacks flustered and off balance. For Washington, this game represents a chance to prove they're for real. Daniels has been nothing short of spectacular so far, showcasing his dual threat ability while leading the Commanders to a surprising 4-1 start. But he hasn't faced a defense quite like Baltimore's, even with their recent struggles. How Daniels handles the pressure and adapts to the Ravens' scheme will go a long way in determining the outcome. One matchup to watch closely is Terry McLaurin against the Baltimore secondary. McLaurin and Daniels seem to have found their rhythm, with the star receiver topping 13 fantasy points in 3 straight games. He'll be going up against a Ravens defense that's allowed the 8th most fantasy points to opposing wideouts. If McLaurin can get loose for a big play or two, It could be the difference in what promises to be a tightly contested affair. This game has all the makings of a shootout. Both offenses rank in the top 2 in EPA per dropback and EPA per designed carry, while facing defenses that have been vulnerable so far this season. Don't be surprised if we see fireworks at M&T Bank Stadium, with the team that makes one or two key defensive stops coming out on top in the end. Now let's turn our attention to a matchup between two teams desperately searching for offensive consistency, as the Los Angeles Chargers visit the Denver Broncos. Both squads enter with 2-2 records, but their paths to get there couldn't be more different. For the Chargers, it's been a roller coaster of a season so far. They've shown flashes of brilliance on offense behind quarterback Justin Herbert, but have struggled mightily to finish games. Los Angeles hasn't scored a touchdown in the second half since Week 1, a troubling trend for a team with playoff aspirations. They'll need to find a way to sustain drives and put points on the board for all 4 quarters if they want to leave Denver with a win. On the other side, the Broncos are coming off an impressive 3-game winning streak that's breathed new life into their season, after a disastrous 0-2 start that saw them give up 70 points to Miami. Denver has found its footing behind an improved defense and steadier play from quarterback Bo Nix. The rookie signal caller hasn't thrown an interception during the winning streak, a marked improvement from the 4 he tossed in the first 2 losses. This game could come down to which team can establish the run more effectively. The Chargers have leaned heavily on their ground game, with running back J.K. Dobbins looking to build on a strong start to the season. Meanwhile, the Broncos have been much tougher to pass against than run on, potentially setting up Dobbins for a big day. For Denver, the key will be patience on offense. They're facing a Chargers defense that ranks first in points allowed per game at just 12.5. Nothing will come easy against defensive coordinator Jesse Minter's unit. But if Nix can continue to take care of the football and pick his spots in the passing game, the Broncos should have a chance to extend their winning streak to 4. This feels like a critical juncture for both teams. A win for the Chargers would help quiet some of the doubters and prove they can close out games on the road. For Denver, a 4th straight victory would cement their status as one of the NFL's most surprising turnaround stories. Whichever team can impose their will and control the tempo will likely emerge victorious in what should be a tightly contested AFC West battle. As we wrap up our tour around the league, let's take a moment to discuss the blockbuster Monday Night Football matchup between the Buffalo Bills and the New York Jets. This AFC East showdown has taken on added intrigue following the Jets' decision to fire head coach Robert Saleh earlier this week. For Buffalo, the goal is simple: avoid their first 3-game losing streak with Josh Allen as the starting quarterback. The Bills' high-powered offense has sputtered over the past 2 weeks, averaging just 15 points per game after putting up over 37 per contest during their 3-game winning streak to open the season. Getting back on track won't be easy against a Jets defense that's been one of the few bright spots in an otherwise disappointing season for New York. The big question for the Jets is how they'll respond in their first game under interim head coach Jeff Ulbrich. One of Ulbrich's stated goals is to eliminate the team's reputation for slow starts, which plagued them throughout the Saleh era. This season alone, the Jets have nearly as many penalties in the first quarter with 13 as they do points with just 14. Ulbrich is preaching a heightened sense of urgency. We'll see if that translates to a more focused and disciplined effort on Monday night. Keep an eye on the Bills' passing attack in this one. There are questions surrounding the availability of leading receiver Khalil Shakir, who's dealing with an ankle injury. If he can't go, Buffalo will need other playmakers to step up and support Allen. On the flip side, the Jets' offense will likely try to lean on running back Breece Hall to take some pressure off their young quarterback. Hall has the potential for a big game against a Bills defense that's allowing the most fantasy points per game to opposing running backs. In the end, this game could come down to which team avoids the critical mistake in a pressure-packed primetime environment. The Bills are the more talented squad on paper, but strange things tend to happen when these division rivals get together. With their season potentially hanging in the balance, don't be shocked if the Jets come out swinging and make this a much closer contest than many are expecting. Thank you for listening today. We would kindly ask that you rate, review, share, and subscribe to NFL Catch-Up. Remember, we drop every Friday morning all year long across the major podcast platforms. You can find us on X at NFL_catchup. We're also available on YouTube and on the web at nflcatchup.com.